Silicon Valley computer scientist. He's founder of Clear Light Ventures, an organization which researches efforts to reduce environmental factors that impair public health. He's going to discuss his personal family experience with autism spectrum disorder and how he improved the health of his family with EMF reduction. Because of his experience, he's been interested and involved in research related to electromagnetic fields and knows a great deal about the science of EMF. We're very pleased to have Peter speak to us today. Thank you.
How's it? The audio is good? So I'm calling this Reducing Digital Overload in a Wireless Era. I'm not really going to talk about the science. The scientists have done that already. I'm going to talk about more about our personal experience. So this is our family story. It started kind of in a shocking way. These are photos from about 2003. In about 1999, my son Jack was kicked out of preschool. I came home and found out that not only was he kicked out of preschool, but the teacher asked that he suggested that we get a psychological diagnosis for him. So we went to the Children's Health Council here, and they diagnosed him with sensory integration, which is kind of the low end of the autism spectrum, a symptom that most autistics have. And so that was pretty devastating, but I kind of at that time just said, well, I'm kind of sensitive, my son's sensitive, so we'll just cope, and we did all kinds of sensory. We worked on all kinds of therapies to reduce sensory load and noise and harsh clothing, etc., just to make the environment a little softer and de-stress it. But then in 2003, when my second son went to preschool, the teachers also asked to have a conference, and we had 5 teachers set up to talk to us like an intervention. And they said, you know, your son Max has not been interacting with other students. He's just kind of sitting in the corner and staring off into the corner. And that was just, we had kind of seen that it was really hard for us. I'd been really focusing on Jack, and it was really hard for me to see that Max, who had actually been really developing normally, this was kind of a case of progressive autism, where he had good eye contact. He was the easy baby. He just dropped off the cliff and just you started seeing the 1,000-foot stare or whatever. You're just kind of like this. And so at that point, that really shook my belief that this was entirely a genetic situation. And at that time, I was also starting to have some serious issues as well. So I had food allergies, and I was having fatigue and becoming chemically sensitive, and not sleeping well, losing weight. There was a lot going on. And so I started looking at, we started looking at everything. So we looked at genetics. We started playing. Everybody kind of goes through these things when you go through chronic. You think about the genetics, you look at diet next, you get into toxins, and you start looking at toxins in the home and mold, start reducing mold, and everything you can think of, basically. Now, I never, as a Silicon Valley engineer, I never would have looked at EMF, to be straight up honest. The only reason I actually kind of thought it was you were non-scientific if you brought it up. Then, in this weakened state, I started to feel in about 2007, I could feel a cell phone next to my head. And I was an early adopter. I had a smartphone back in about 2003, 2004. So that was really kind of hard to deny. And then one day, in about 2007, I was climbing under my desk and plugged in a transformer. And my head just felt fuzzy for about 40 minutes after that experience. So I started getting some EMF experts to come in, start measuring our house, and we started reducing magnetic fields and working with building biologists. And so it's been 8 years we've been working on that. And so we've really gone through systematically with the kids and done everything we could, and slowly things got better. We just wanted our kids to live up to their full potential, and I can say today that they have, right? So my son Jack, our experience with autism is kind of gone now. We don't even really talk about it. My son Jack's a sophomore at Cal. He just had an internship with Tesla Motors. My son Max, who really did not have a friend until he was 6 years old, is now got the lead in the school play, and it's just unbelievable. So, one step at a time. And I'm sleeping well, my weight is back. I was down 131 pounds, so I'm about 55 right now, so can you imagine me 20 pounds lighter? It was, yeah, thank you. I was actually going to include a picture, but it was a little too freaky. I've got some, So I'm going to talk about the autism puzzle from my perspective as a parent, and just listen to the scientists and try to summarize what these other doctors have talked about. Genetics, we all start with the genetic component. But again, as Dr. Cerrucci said, it's not the entire picture. And then some of the genetics are de novo mutations, which are basically non-inherited mutations. So that leads you back to looking at the environment or other factors that could cause these mutations. So again, the next thing we started looking at is your biological capacity, or the doctors call this physiology. So how much glutathione do you have? How much melatonin? You know, what are all your different levels, and serotonin? And also, what mode is your body in? Is your body in fight or flight mode? Or is it in rest or digest and grow mode? And those are significantly different because as you, if you're in fight or flight mode, it's not sustainable. And your body's going to try to defer anything that it can, anything that's not necessary for immediate survival. But this mechanism wasn't designed to be a long-term sustainable thing. It works great if a tiger's chasing you, but not if you're in a Wi-Fi building that you're not going to escape. So of course, next, mentally, we started talking about chemical toxins, and I started looking at mercury. I had some mercury fillings, and that was an issue for me. But there's 85,000 toxins in commerce, and babies are, the cord blood is being studied, and we're looking at about 287 chemicals in babies. Most of them we don't even know the effects of. And as Dr. Paul said, this is part of the equation, and Dr. Cerrucci as well. So finally, I think of wireless and EMF as the key piece of the autism puzzle because it really impacts a lot of the other factors. So you've got wireless, we talked about the potential impact on genetics, and the sperm research is pretty strong. I would say at this point, I can't recommend putting a cell phone in your pocket. So you've got that effect on genetics. You've got the biological effect of just getting the body, you've got the calcium effect, you've got the cortisol thing going on, and just getting the body more into sympathetic nervous system mode. So switching that into that fight or float mode, fight or flight, whatever. All right. So, and then when you think about chemical toxins, your body is like a funnel. These toxins are coming in, but you've got mechanisms to detox. When you're in fight or flight mode, it's like the bottom of that funnel gets squeezed off, right? So that's where you can start getting into basically state of overload. So we like to think of this, Martha Herbert likes to think of this as not as a genetic trait, but as a state of overload from total load from all these factors. But I think the factor that we're missing the most, that most people don't even look at all, is wireless and EMF. Now, so you may know someone with autism, you may have that in your family or know children with that, but most people are not exposed to that right now. And so here are some common symptoms that everyone is really being exposed to. Sleep disturbance. Is anyone having problems with sleep right now? Been there, done that? Yeah. It's not pretty. Ringing in the ears. Is anyone having problems with ringing in the ears? Tinnitus? Okay. Restlessness. I got one on restless. Heart palpitations. Yeah, the arrhythmia, they're going fast or slow. Headaches. Attention problems. I think I've had all of these, basically. Memory issues. I don't remember having memory issues. Okay. Depression is a big issue. So on a positive front, we're in Silicon Valley. Friends of mine are the cell phone designers. I went to school with some of these folks. We created this problem, which also makes, we can uncreate this.
The telecom corporations created a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I shouldn't say, but I feel like we can take a sense of ownership, and no one puts these things next to your body. We're the ones that, the majority of us put it, I know you don't. But the majority of people are putting this next to their body, feeling it is safe. So we can roll back to known good states. It wasn't always like this. And as citizens and consumers, we can demand actual safety, which is what you asked for. And what I said is the closest sources, and we've heard this before, the closest sources have the greatest impact. So every time you double the distance, the radiation level goes down 75%. As you halve the distance, the radiation level goes up 4 times. Okay? So you control that. I'd love to blame that on the wireless industry, but that's usually us. And so again, we control the closest sources, so I want people to feel like this is not a totally disempowering situation, that there is there are some things you can do. So what you can do today, keep cell phones away from your body. So I think at the Commonwealth Club in 2010, after like the first talk, I turned my cell phone into airplane mode and put it back in my pocket. Now I keep it in my backpack. It's usually off in my backpack, and if it's on, it's a distance from my body. And especially not only from your head, but again from your reproductive organs and your heart as well. So there's not a lot left, so that's why I keep it in my backpack. So we can also do Dr. Yelch's protocol. I'll give a little preview of what she's come up with, which I think is quite brilliant, which is turning off baby monitors, cordless phone, base stations, Wi-Fi, and then the bedroom circuit breaker at night. So the first three are for wireless signals, and the last one is for magnetic EMF fields and dirty electricity, so the noise on those fields. Dr. Dunkley's protocol is basically kind of a screen time fast. Is another brilliant protocol that's just come out. Her book is here. I can't wait to hear her talk again. You can also look on antennasearch.com. Now this is getting a little bit out of our scope and out of what we can control, but sometimes we can control where we move, where our kids go to school, where our offices are. So go to antennasearch.com and look at the antennas. And you can hire a building biologist to measure your home, school, or office. These are some photographs from a report that a building biologist here did, Cameron. This is a cell tower behind Gunn High School, behind the math and science building. This shows the radiation level behind those buildings. I don't know if people are familiar with what's going on at Gunn High School. It's a suicide cluster right now. So I've been working on this, I guess, for the last 8 years, and I notice I can talk to people forever, and you can't influence people sometimes, especially in Silicon Valley. It's harder to. But what I find is if people can have an experience of what this feels like, then they own it, right? And then it becomes hard to deny, because that's what's happened. That's what happened to me. So I've been playing around with really low EMF environments, and then I have demos of things that are really high EMF. And I demonstrate these things for people. I go into people's homes and I turn things on and off, and I do demos for people in this low EMF environment. And so here are some comments that I've gotten from people over the last 8 years. This is from a family, from a colicky baby who had never slept in 6 months. They turned off their Wi-Fi, and all of a sudden the baby slept through the night, and she said, "We are all sleeping better." But now their colicky baby actually sleeps. It feels more like outside. We've been outside, we've been out in nature. We have to discern the difference a bit more. One person, a reporter, I had a hardest time getting this guy to feel anything. And he could, he was really in his head, and that's fine. And finally, I got him to feel a magnetic field. He was like, "Oh, I feel that in my gut." So we all feel these in different places. Some people are feeling it in their head. Some people feel it in their skin. Some people feel it in their gut as kind of a nervousness or anxiety or nausea. One person said, "My head feels different, clearer. I feel more kind of openness." That's what Dr. Yelcha took me to, a really low EMF space on the coast, and you could just feel your head just opens up. What else? So skin, I feel things differently. I feel magnetic fields kind of in my head. Skin, dirty electricity, high frequency noise, and electric fields I feel on my skin. It feels kind of creepy. That wired feeling, that wired and tired, that can be electric fields, but I think that's also a lot of calcium efflux. What else have I heard? I worked at an autistic, home of an autistic family this week, and put in some devices that lowered electric fields, and both the father and the mother have never claimed that they are electrosensitive, but they said, "Oh, I feel that." It feels that they started trying to describe the feeling. It was great, because I was not putting words in their mouth. And they're just like, "I feel that." They were just trying to understand what the difference was. And at the end, the guy said, "I just feel more present. I feel like something just like a sheet just went away, and I can feel more presence." And I feel like, for me, when I'm in a better zone, my vision is more dimensional, third dimensional. And when I'm in a high EMF zone, it feels just kind of flat. So I have a website, clearlightventures.com. There's a short URL, clv.us. Okay, so we have a website. I have demos of what does Wi-Fi sound like with a meter. I've got blogs on a lot of these topics, from sleep to autism, to just, wireless safety in general.
Could you repeat the website, please?
The website is, the short one is clb.us. .us. That's the shortcut. And the full one is clearlightventures.com. Okay? If you go to that website /blog, you can sign up for a newsletter. So we have a newsletter informing people, keeping up people on the latest research these folks are doing, and sharing blogs and articles. And, we have a Facebook group on it's called Autism and EMF. So if you know anyone, if you have any kids on the spectrum, we're discussing the protocol, like Dr. Yelcher's protocol, and supporting parents and trying to get them to the point where they can do that and get the feedback as this all evolves. This is all very new.